It is perhaps the coolest pre-game ritual in professional sports. The four-person parachute team called Thunderstorm skydives into Sports Authority Field before Denver Broncos games. Now, Dana Jacobson met with the Daredevils and even suited up herself to try this dangerous yet invigorating, some would call it invigorating, I wouldn't, stunt.
From a sea of darkness, they appear. 5,000 feet over downtown Denver, streaking across the night sky. Before igniting the more than 70,000 fans packed into Sports Authority Field at Mile High. They are the Thunderstorm, swooping into the stadium through a maze of crisscrossing wires at 60 miles per hour to kick off Denver Broncos home games.
This is what we do it for. This is everything for us.
Yeah. It's all about the fans, and when they're cheering, we're fired up.
The team trains an hour north at Mile High Skydiving, where the average skydiver descends with a parachute twice as big and lands at a speed 3 times slower than the Thunderstorm.
What is it about skydiving?
It's total freedom. You don't worry about if you got bills to pay. It's like 60 seconds to do your job and then back to reality.
Co-founder Jimmy Tranter never considered doing anything else, even after losing his mother in a skydiving accident as a kid.
Even in the darkest moments, it was never a question to me. It was a matter of how old I had to be before I could jump.
Just something you loved that much?
I couldn't imagine not doing it.
I love swooping parachutes, I love flying parachutes, and so this demo is like the king of all demos. You know?
Allison Ray discovered her passion for flying through the air and found a mentor in Jimmy Tranter.
He's really kind of a legend in the sport. He's been around forever, 25,000+ jumps.
You're the only woman as part of this team.
Yes, the only woman to jump into the stadium at all, which is a pretty big honor for me.
And a little badass, too.
It feels like it. I hope so.
Between the 4 skydivers, they have nearly 50,000 jumps, a requirement to becoming a member of this elite group, usually.
So here's what we're going to do.
When it comes to jumping out of a plane, it's one thing to hear about it.
Have a good one, fellas.
But another to experience it.
Way to go.
Now, how much faster is it when you guys are going into the stadium?
Oh, twice as fast, easy, for 3 times.
Degree of difficulty with this jump, where is it in terms of the world of skydiving?
I think it's one of the top 1 or 2 for sure. This is as technical and as difficult as it gets.
This jump is complex.
Because this is where we have to turn in order to get it steep and dive it down by the stands.
But one little detail makes it perhaps the most difficult and most unique in the world.
A lot of people will look at the stadium and say it's a big, wide open field. But immediately, as soon as we add the field goal cables, add the cable cam cables coming from all 4 corners and a 50-yard line cable, you actually have to dive small parachutes through this hole here, and it's kind of like Mission Impossible style.
It's a dangerous midair dance. 4 people working together, communicating without speaking.
And as far as risk, how important is it to have teamwork?
It's everything. You got to be able to trust the people that you're flying with. It is potentially extremely dangerous.
It's really like parallel parking a Ferrari at about 60 miles an hour. That's what it is every single time.
But I don't think you can actually do that, can you?
I can't do that. No, it's not in my wheelhouse, but this is, and this team has that ability.
They most certainly do. Now, in addition to jumping for the Broncos, the Thunderstorm all have day jobs, training members of the military and designing and testing parachutes. Some also compete in national skydiving competitions. Now, the one thing they all have in common, it's the passion for the jump. I know I have not convinced you yet, but that's something that I understand. That was my second time actually being able to do it, and I get the thrill, and I understand, especially if you start learning it on your own and not doing it tandem like I did, how you really would just get a rush like nothing else.
Dana, my stomach was like jumping out of my body just watching that.
The difference is, obviously it's where you are mentally when you go into this. When you're out overlooking the sky and you're about to jump, I guess it's sort of where your fear level is. I wasn't thinking, am I going to fall to the ground? You're just looking at this beautiful scenery and a rush and exhilaration from the free fall before that chute goes.
So you're not feeling sort of incredibly heavy as you fall, like the gravity at work?
No, it's amazing. It's almost like the cartoon feeling, like look at that, we're free falling. It's a lot of wind in your face.
You look like you're smiling. Are you grimacing or smiling?
I was grinning ear to ear because it was so much fun. It was cold, I'm not going to lie. The cold may have stuck the smile on the face, but it really is just an exhilarating feeling that I cannot describe. I think you can only really get when you're up there because you're falling and you look out at a scene that you could never see any other way.
Yeah.
And then when the chute goes and you're floating, it's a much easier experience. But theirs, when they're going into the stadium, what I loved that they told me, they can hear that roar as soon as they jump out. Like, they can hear that roar, and the first time they all heard it, it was like, wait, what is this? What is this? Is there something I should be worried about? And then you realize it's the roar from the crowd because they have transmitters that are sending that picture into the stadium. We were in the stadium watching people as they were like, oh, there they are, we can see them, and they're looking overhead. The best part is the woman on the team, Allison, that we interviewed there. She's the last one in every time. Loudest cheer is always for her.
That is so cool.
I don't know if it's because she's the only woman, but it's really, you can't appreciate it till you see it in person, how quickly they're coming in, how steep that dive is, and then coming across the field.
Well, that was a great story. I mean, the thrill a minute for me was just watching the story. That's plenty for me, but I'm kind of a boring sort of person.
I'm sure they'd take you up if you wanted to.
Okay. Daredevil Jacobson, you're going to have a new nickname. Thank you very much. I hope you got a chance to keep the outfit.
I did not keep the outfit, but I have the pictures. Memories for life.